Hey guys, welcome to unofficially named Whack-A-Boss. It's gonna be our new boss series. I say that, but this is probably the third video, and we're just gonna go over Atziri in this video. I'm only gonna run Uber Atziri because I made this video before with all of the Atziris, including Temple Atziri, and there really just isn't any point. They don't have different mechanics. We basically concluded that Uber Atziri is the strongest. Unless you have really nasty mods on your template series, in which case that one is stronger, as well as a high item level for the zone. The one that we did was I-85 with like minus res from a T3 corruption chamber, and yeah, I would say that that one was hitting, I want to say about the same, maybe a little harder than Ubrit Siri, but that's about like as bad as it gets, right? I-85 with minus like 10% res or whatever. Anyhow, let's get right into it. The first thing that we should note about the Ubrit Siri run is that all of the mobs are magic, rare, or higher. So every single time you kill a pack, you're going to get your flask charges back, basically. So you don't have to be worried about using your flask charges. You can see I'm just spamming my flasks. When we walk over a pack, and we have all our flask charges back. So you don't have to be worried if you like need your flask to clear the mobs, but you want to save them for the bosses. It's not an issue. And basically, you're gonna get one of these ad rooms with like before you hit each boss. And the bosses are going to do a very large amount of generally elemental damage. So with these twin guys at the front, generally the idea is you just burst them both. But if you're lacking in the damages, the mechanic here is that if you kill one of them before the other one gets much faster and stronger. But otherwise, we're just going to kind of stand here and take a few of the hits. Actually, we can kill one of them, and then we can just kind of watch the other one. So you can see he's sped up here, and he's just going to go underground, doing some lasers. It's, you know, very similar to Vol Oversoul. He's got a slam. He's got this ice attack is really strong. It gets a lot of people because it'll perma-freeze you, and if your heat flask is like an instant life flask, you're going to unfreeze yourself and then just get instantly frozen again. It's the same thing as like the ice rain guys in like Harvest or like the Bloodlines. Like you're gonna need a little bit better defenses than an instant life flask if you're gonna be tanking that. And it generally spawns like at your location, so if you're not moving around, you're just gonna. And you can see even there, like I'm moving, and I took a hit from that before I was able to get out of the way. The multi-ball lightning is very dangerous. Dashing through it does like it doesn't keep you from getting hit. You're still gonna take a couple hits, but it is probably the safest way to go through it if you can tank that much. Whereas if not, you just have to go completely around it. And that's basically the first boss. First boss, pretty straightforward, pretty squishy compared to the other ones too. I don't mean to say that it's actually squishy. The ones in Uber are much tankier than the ones before. If you get to the point where you are one-shotting the ones, or like I don't know, one-shotting maybe, like you're insta-nuking the bosses in regular Atziri, you're probably gonna find that your damage at that point is like just not enough for Uber. You're gonna need like a little bit more than that. So if you're at the point where you are, I guess, literally one-shotting the regular bosses, you should be fine for this one. But if you're just like you're nuking them, you're feeling really confident about the regular one. Just because you're nuking it doesn't mean you're gonna be ready for this one, right? But yeah, I think maybe if you're one-shotting it, you're probably fine. So as you can kind of see here, there's 3 of these bosses, and this one in the middle is generally the most dangerous, the Spiker. She has the 2 abilities. She has the like one where she like throws her spikes, and then she has the spike rain basically. And you just want to make sure that you kill that one first, which as you can see can be very difficult. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna kind of debate this guy over here till he loses his speed, and we actually failed to kill her first, which is A little unfortunate. My build's not very good for it because I am playing Arc cast on crit, so I can't really control where I'm hitting very well. And that's probably one of the issues, right? So you can see where the one guy died, he's going to spawn a death cloud, and that'll happen with all of them. Not sneeze there, one sec. Yeah, so the one that we killed was the fire one, and as you saw when he was chasing us, he sets himself intermittently on fire, gains a lot of movement speed when he does. This is kind of an area where you want to be able to make sure you're meeting that threshold of 35% move speed on your boots. Otherwise, you probably can't outrun them without flasks. You do get some flask charges back from the ads that spawn from the death clouds here, and the death clouds I believe slowly get bigger as well, so bit of an annoyance there. But yeah, as you can see, we just killed the spiker there. If you leave her up as the last boss, that spike attack will start like one-shotting you if it isn't already. It's a very, very strong fizz attack. And then this last guy here, he just inflicts big bleeds. I am immune to bleed, so I can't really show you that. Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of like your melee cyclone boy, and then he does big bleeds. So you want to make sure you're fast on that staunching flask if you get hit, or ideally you're just not getting hit at all. And once you down all three of them, that's it for that boss, right? Two strong boxes, fun. Okay. Alright, so regular Atziri, you can see she's got Flame Blast, she's got Storm Calls. The regular ones, for the Storm Calls, maybe not so dangerous unless you get hit by multiple, which is kind of hard to get hit by multiple, I would say. You're going to make sure you portal outside the boss. And we got a little bit of an ad face here that pops up randomly. If you let the mobs walk into her, it'll heal her. Her regular Flame Blast is very dangerous still. I think not just because of the Flame Blast itself, but even if you survive it, the ignite from that Flame Blast is very big. So you don't want to be tanking that if at all possible. I do have a lot of ailment immunities that can happen, so it's kind of hard for me to like demonstrate the ignite and stuff, but I guess we can try one. Yeah, okay, there we go. We got the ignite. And you can see I have pretty high ally resistance and whatnot. Like I'm max 90 all, and I have like mitigation and whatnot. So it's kind of hard to really give you an accurate representation, but you can see just how much damage this does to me with all of that and like my mass amount of EHP. So to a regular player, it's generally going to be fatal. The spinning knives will inflict bleed, and you can just kind of dash out of the way like that. It's the hardest attack to dodge. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but if you don't have any like fizz mitigation, it can be a bit of an issue. And we did see slightly earlier two other mechanics, which are the greater Storm Call and the greater Flame Blast. And the greater Storm Calls are a little bit harder to dodge and much more dangerous. You can expect one shots out of those kinds of abilities, or I guess two shots in the case of the Storm Call, because the first one will shock and then the second one will nuke you. And you know, lightning damage has a higher variance to its damage. But the Flame Blast, she does 1+1 per person in the zone. So with the greater Flame Blasts, if you're running a 6-person zone, they're going to basically just cover the screen. Which is why you don't see Uber Atziri carries for like 7 people or whatever very often, right? 7 people, 6 people, I mean. But yeah, if you're doing like even like 3 people, that's 4 greater Flame Blasts you have to dodge instead of 2. So that you should just keep that in mind. And then obviously they overlap and they do fuck tons of damage. I can tank like 1. I don't think I can tank 2. We can try, but yeah. They're very strong. It's pretty rough. And then let's see, what do we have here? Right, so every time we get her to a quarter of her health or lower, she will reset to that point. You can't just burst her down from 100 to 0. She'll just reset to the next threshold phase, and then she'll split into 4 versions of herself, where one of them is holding each of her weapons and does each of the attacks, and then this one here, we can see is holding a mirror This one is the reflect one, so this one's just gonna reflect all of our stuff back at us, and that's the one that kills most people. So you just want to make sure you're hitting the one like on the opposite side of it if you can. If you're not reflect immune, this fight's probably not doable if you can't aim your attack, but if you can aim your attack, it's like, maybe it's okay. And generally speaking, she just reflects curses in general, so you just gotta watch out for that. And you can see, we put her past the threshold, and she's gonna heal back. This one's the lightning one, fire one, mirror, and physical. Just killing any of them is fine. Kill the lightning one, see, it's fine. Alright. Okay, I'm actually going to portal out here just so that I can refresh my Wizoak, because I don't think I can tank without the Wizoak up, but I'm going to try and tank the double Flame Blast. I'll try and tank one, and then I'll try and tank two. And yeah, okay, so we tanked one pretty well there, but I'm not sure we can make it for two. My flasks are up. We'll have to wait for her to do one more. At this point, we've kind of been over all the mechanics, so you know, if you're not interested in seeing me try to tank the double, you know, you can dip if you want, but you know, I think it's interesting to see how much damage we can mitigate here. She has a lot of penetration, so with 90 all res and 90 all max res, and the penetration will still affect that regardless of if you're overcapped or not. And then mitigation from Wizoak, you know, it's interesting. I probably... No, so I'm also unaffected by my own curses while I'm on Conquer Ground, so I don't need to worry about my self-curses here. No. It's possible though that we just didn't block. Like, I think if I don't block, I can't tank it. If I block, I can tank it. We can tank Cyrus Meteor with this build, just for comparison. So if you can tank Cyrus Meteor, you can probably tank one Flame Blast. If you cannot tank Cyrus Meteor, you cannot tank one Flame Blast. And by that I mean the Omega version of the Flame Blast, right? I kind of want to try again. Give it another shot. But yeah, as far as drops go, like, regular Atziri can drop fragments for the Uber Atziri. Ignorance is the rarest because there's a div card for Mortal Hope, which used to be pretty rare. And then Uber Atziri best drop is the gloves, which are roughly nope, guess not. Which are roughly a few to a lot of exalts, depending on the league and how much they're going for at the time. Hey, you know, we can just kill her. I think I'm satisfied. And right, the sack garb is pretty bad, but has multiple variants. We hit a max roll on Ellie Res, which is nice, but I don't think that's super valuable there. The disfavor can be kind of valuable. The helmet's good for like enchanting and like reselling. The Vertex, I believe it's called. Pretty good helmet. It's like a... Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Not really, I don't think. The flask from regular Atziri is pretty good. Pretty common drop. The rarest item from regular Atziri, I believe, is Doriani's Scepter, which is very hard scepter to beat in any non-harvest league. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's about it, right? So good luck on your Atziris. It took me many, many, many leagues to kill my first Atziri, let alone my first Uber Atziri. Although the game was very different back then, but she's fun. She's a fun boss to kind of overcome that obstacle, and then you kind of forget about her. But you know, it's there. It's good. It's actually a decent way to farm some currency at league start, I think. Yeah, if you have a build that can do it very early, the items are going to sell for a lot, right? If someone drops an X and then really needs that Doriani's Catalyst, and you farm out a Doriani's Catalyst from the regular Atziri. Maybe you start buying some Uber sets. You get some Vertex helmets, and people are dropping their like 1X on that. Like, it could be pretty good, I would say. Yeah, well, we'll see you next boss.